Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to finally be filming this video. I have been doing a lot of research on it, and I mean a lot. In my previous video, when I reviewed lashes for my business, I mentioned I want to come back with a variety of subjects, do a bunch of different kinds of videos, and this is the first step in that direction. Today we're going to be talking about Mars, which is so different than anything I've ever done on this channel, and I'm really excited to be branching out finally. It's the first episode in a new series called Exploring the Universe, where we will be discussing ancient cultures, conspiracy theories, and of course, anything related to space and the universe we live in. It's going to be so much fun, and I cannot wait. So let's get into today's video. The big questions for today are, was there life on Mars? And could there be life again? Okay, so let's kick off this adventure with the main story that tickled my brain to begin with, and that is the story of Boriska Kiprianovich. Probably didn't pronounce that right. Gonna go with it anyways. And his past life on Mars. Okay, past life on Mars, guys. Now, Boriska was born on January 11th, 1996 in Volsky, Russia. And I know I didn't pronounce that right either, so forgive me, guys. Now, from the very beginning of his life, his parents claimed that he was so much more advanced than any other baby his age. And if that wasn't the most intriguing thing about him, Boriska himself claims to have had a past life on Mars. That was cut short by nuclear warfare, and he's been sent to Earth to warn us and save us from a similar fate. Dun dun dun! Often referred to as the genius boy from Mars, some media outlets even report Boriska boasted an impressive IQ of 200. I don't even know what my IQ is. It's probably like 7. Anyway, his mother, who is a doctor, the internet was very insistent on that fact. She's a doctor, and she claims he was already speaking full sentences just a few months after birth. She says by 18 months old, he could read, paint, and draw. 18 months old. My 18-month-old can't even talk yet. What am I doing wrong, guys? Anyways, oh, and another claim that claimed by his mother that I forgot to mention is that just weeks after birth, Boriska could supposedly hold his head up without assistance. He was in kindergarten by age 2, and he consistently blew his teachers away with his intelligence and his extensive knowledge of space and planetary systems, which his parents claimed to have never taught him about. He just knew this stuff. Now, Boriska would talk about Mars for hours, and he recalled that Martians were 7 feet tall and stopped aging at age 35. He says they were capable of interstellar travel and could even travel through time in complicated spaceships. Now, as I said before, Boriska has claimed that he was sent here on a mission. He was reincarnated on Earth on purpose to save us all from dying from the same, from the nuclear war, right? But he also says that he's one of many. There's a group of them called the Indigo Children, and they're all supposedly reincarnations of the Martian race, all sent to Earth to warn us about this. They all have the same mission. Boriska says thousands of years ago, his race was wiped out by nuclear warfare. He remembers being 14 or 15 years old and participating in air raids with his friends. He even remembers visiting Earth as a pilot. In fact, he says Martian and human relations were quite frequent. He says the Martians were especially connected to the ancient Egyptians. And this is actually a topic that I want to cover in a later video, like in a separate one, but still part of the series is like ancient cultures and their connection to aliens or supposed connection. So we're going to put a pin in that because that's good idea, good topic. Boriska claims that the Sphinx monument in Giza holds valuable secrets and is quoted saying, "Life on Earth will change dramatically when the Great Sphinx monument is unlocked." Oof. He said a few Martians actually managed to survive their planet's destruction, and they live underground, breathing carbon dioxide, which is good because the planet's filled with that, which we'll get into later. It's reported that Boriska once held an adult audience spellbound for a full hour and a half as he recounted these grand stories of his past life on Mars, and warned of catastrophes due to affect the Earth in 2009 and 2013. I know, This story is insane, but I can't lie to you guys. When I first heard it, the gears in my head were turning. I had to know if this was possible. Could life have ever existed on Mars? Does it exist now? So I hit up my good friend Google, and this is what I came up with. Mars is about half the size of Earth and lacks a global magnetic field to protect from solar winds, which are a continuous flow of charged particles from the sun that permeate the solar system. The Martian atmosphere is mainly carbon dioxide. It's blasted by radiation and is 100 times thinner than Earth's atmosphere. It's so thin, in fact, that it's too thin to trap heat. The average temperature on Mars is negative 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So liquid water would either vaporize or freeze instantly on Mars today. Similar to Boriska's claims, scientists believe Mars had a past life, where water was abundant and the planet had an actual atmosphere. However, unlike what Boriska was saying, scientists say that this was billions of years ago, not thousands. They say that approximately 3.5 to 4 billion years ago, Mars had lakes and flowing rivers. It quite possibly could have been Earth's twin. Scientists have been exploring Mars for half a century, and they've discovered that Mars would have had an ocean that covered 20% of its surface. It would have had a maximum depth of 500 feet or 1 mile approximately, and only 13% of this ancient ocean remains today, frozen in Martian ice caps. Meaning, as Mars lost its atmosphere over billions of years, it lost the pressure and heat required to keep water liquid, causing the ocean to shrink and recede northward. 87% of it was lost to space, and the remaining water condensed and froze over Mars's north and south poles. Finding all of this out was not easy for me or the scientists. They used orbiters to study Mars, cameras to measure surface temperature, lasers that can measure the height of the mountains, spectrometers to map what minerals are present, and of course, the Curiosity and Opportunity rovers. One satellite found an area rich in hematite, a mineral that forms in water. So the Opportunity rover was sent to investigate these scores of tiny spheres that were scattered on the ground and embedded in layered rock. One possible explanation for the layering of this rock is that they were in water. Opportunity determined they were in fact spheres of hematite that had formed like pearls and oysters when the rock was saturated with salty water. And even Curiosity showed that Mars had been wet for at least 1.5 billion years. NASA sent a Mars lander called the Phoenix, and it dug a small trench which exposed these strange white clumps. They were described as ice-like, but they couldn't really determine if they were ice or salt. However, in just days, the clumps had vaporized, proving that they were ice. It turns out, if all the ice on Mars' surface melted, it could form a sea 30 feet deep. There are also hints of flowing water beneath the surface, which I thought was really cool when I was reading about this. In the southern hemisphere during spring, these bizarre dark streaks appear in steep gullies and they extend downhill. They run downhill. Then in the fall, the streaks disappear. They fade away, poof, gone, ditto, done. Leading scientists to believe that it's flowing water. What does this mean for life on Mars? Other than trace amounts of water, what other evidence is there? They certainly haven't found any fossils on Mars. No, they haven't. But they don't need to have a fossil left behind to detect life. Circumstances to create fossils are pretty unique to Earth, to be honest, so I wouldn't really expect there to be any on Mars. This is where the Curiosity rover comes in. Curiosity was sent to search for 3 elements of life: a source of energy, like the sun or a volcano, liquid water, and some sort of carbon molecules or organics. Now, these are just elements that would sustain human life. Obviously, if, we have no idea what kind of conditions would sustain an extraterrestrial life. There could be so many different creatures out there that, exist on other things than what we can exist on. We don't know. But Curiosity was sent to see if humans could survive. And so far, Mars only has 2 of those 3 elements. Elephants. Mars has 2 of these 3 elements: energy from the sun and liquid water. But we still need carbon life forms. Are there any? Were there ever? Well, orbiters found trace amounts of methane gas, and typically Most methane gases are created by microorganisms as a waste product. Curiosity collected powdered rock from Mars' surface to determine if Mars has the building blocks of life. Curiosity sampled this soil and found minerals similar to that found in the volcanic soil of Hawaii. Finally, scientists got a little bit of a breakthrough when Curiosity found organic molecules called thiophenes, which on Earth are primarily a result of biological processes. On Earth, thiophenes are found in coal, crude oil, kerogen, a species of mushrooms called white truffles, as well as stromatolites and microfossils. Thiophenes are essential to biology, containing 4 carbon atoms and 1 sulfur atom in a ring. But they can, however, occur without any connection to life. They could have been from meteor impacts, or could have easily been from volcanic activities on early Mars. It's now up to future generation rovers to determine if these organic molecules on Mars are enriched in light carbon, as living organisms on Earth usually are. So, if at one point Mars was in fact just like Earth, what happened to it to make it the red planet we know today? Is it possible that what Boriska said was right? Was Mars really the victim of a nuclear war? There are actually a few scientists who believe so. Dr. John Brandenburg, an American plasma physicist, believes he found evidence of a nuclear winter wiping out an ancient Martian civilization. In his estimate, he claims Mars was nuked into oblivion by 2 nuclear devices. And ex-NASA consultant Richard Hoagland argues there's ample photographic evidence from NASA's Viking missions to prove nuclear war. Dr. Brandenburg believes that Mars was once like Earth and had even developed its own indigenous humanoid species that evolved into a primitive civilization. There were no roads or airports, so if Mars did have an indigenous species, it was nothing like the advanced civilization Boriska described from his past life. Brandenburg says Mars was attacked by another extraterrestrial civilization from space. He says the explosions were airbursts of 2 massive nuclear weapons, and he believes Mars's destruction was deliberate and meticulous. The revelation that Mars may have fallen to nuclear war came to Dr. Brandenburg at the height of the Cold War, when he came across atmospheric readings from Mars, where he learned Mars's atmosphere is loaded with a peculiar isotope known as xenon-129. If you don't already know, isotopes are variants of a particular element which differ in neutron number from proton number. All isotopes of a given element have the same number of protons but different numbers of neutrons in each atom. All elements with atomic numbers greater than 83 are radioisotopes, which means they have unstable nuclei and are radioactive. Elements with atomic numbers of 83 and less have stable isotopes, and most have at least 1 radioisotope. Xenon-129 is produced by the decay of iodine-129, which just so happens to be the 1 radioisotope of iodine, making it radioactive. High concentrations of radioactive xenon are typically associated with nuclear reactors, nuclear fission, and the fallout from nuclear explosions. Uranium, thorium, and potassium also appear to be hyperabundant on Mars' surface. Going back to Richard Hoagland, he says in the Cydonia region of Mars, he sees organized structures, ancient habitats, and pyramids. He said some craters do not look like natural meteoric impact craters or asteroid craters. He says they look like the nuclear test done in Nevada. So was there a nuclear war on Mars? According to NASA's rover, the presence of xenon can be attributed to cosmic rays, and the U.S. Space Agency says the particular chemistry of the surface of Mars contributed to its atmospheric makeup, which to me, low-key sounds like a blanket cover-up type answer to keep people from asking too many questions. So what do you guys really think? Is it possible Boriska really recalls a past life on Mars? Was there life on Mars at one point? Could it have been eradicated by something catastrophic like nuclear war? Tell me. Let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to know your theories and opinions. I want to know what you guys think about all this. And also, let me know in the comments if there's a topic that you'd like covered in my Exploring the Universe series. I'm very open. Thank you all for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you'd like to see more content like this on my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Ciao!